Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Radio Free Wall Street. Today's webcast is a very important one, and I'll tell you why. We've had some action in the stock market that is very predictive. Now, there's a couple things you need to know. We're in the middle of earnings season, and this season is highlighted by high-tech key stocks that are moving ever higher. This is part of the last best engineering job they're going to be able to do in the stock market, okay? We're going to see a big moonshot on the GDP as a result of the tax break bonanza for billionaires, major corporations, taking money home, being able to financially engineer their balance sheet. What the hallmark is, a lot of these companies are showing a lot more profits, but no top-line growth, no increase in sales. So it's basically money returned that is being booked as profits on the balance sheet, okay? And so it's a nice little sugar high, and we'll see a nice GDP report, and we'll see a nice stock market swoon. But the story is they were 6 months away from a major stock market wipeout. How cool is that going to be? We're 6 months away from a huge wipeout in the markets, okay? We are 6 months away from a recession and a crash. And one of the most significant things was the NASDAQ putting in new highs today and then falling off of that high. And that's always one of these surefire warning signs that a guy like me looks like and goes, uh-oh, things aren't as rosy as they appear to be in Wonderland, and people have taken profits off this move, and a lot of people have run for the door headed for the hills. And that is really the best way to approach this market. This is a very dangerous market, and this breakout to the upside and failure is extremely significant. Now, there's more going on there than meets the eye, and we're hearing from more and more companies about the result of Donald Trump's mindless, stupid, idiotic trade wars. Trade wars are weapons of mass destruction. And for a major trading country like America to have a president who is a simpleton, who doesn't understand a merchandise trade deficit versus a service trade deficit, who doesn't understand the enormous benefits America gets from the trade deficits. In other words, these people are using dollars, and they're selling us goods at a cheap price, subsidizing our economy, keeping goods cheaper for the middle class America, much cheaper because we can't produce at that price. And we're also trapping these countries into U.S. dollars. In other words, when you sell to America, you get paid in dollars. Now you've got dollars. What do you do with them? Well, you don't flush them down the toilet because the dollar is the world's trading currency. The dollar is the world's most stable currency. The dollar is the most investable, tradable, loanable, borrowable, securitized currency in the world. And frankly, it's kept the Chinese regime afloat with their massive debts. And they know it. U.S. government debt is the most stable, fundable, reliable, tradable debt in the world also. And U.S. investment and investing in U.S. markets is clearly the world's choice. So what's happened is all that balance of trade, oh my God, the balance of trade deficit, let me jump off a Trump Tower, I want to die, it's so high. Oh, bullshit. In the time that America's run massive deficits, we've had incredible prosperity. In the time deficits have soared, America's become a powerhouse. In fact, we've become the only superpower. Now, Donald Trump's about to throw that away because, Putin and the videotapes and Putin collusion and, Putin is Donald Trump's boss, and the boss says, we got to do something about this superpower shit. And Trump goes, Putin, anything to say, buddy? So Donald Trump, the sold-out Manchurian candidate president, is taking on trade wars which do nothing but hurt American companies. Harley Davidson's reported. We've got half a dozen companies already saying that their bottom line is going to be hurt by these tariffs and their raw material prices going up and them losing market around the world. Fine. You're going to make a lot of money off of that. Okay, it's a very tradable event. Donald Trump's trade war is a disaster for the U.S. economy. And it's going to get worse. The losses are going to get bigger. The economy is going to slow down. And Donald Trump, well, he will go down as the man that has brought us the Trump depression. Whether he finishes his first term is very doubtful. It looks like in the polls the Democrats are rising in the midterm elections, and if they get the House, Donald Trump will be impeached. No matter how many stack of Bibles they swear that's not going to happen. Now, the other thing we have is that we have a credit market that is deteriorating very quickly, and let me explain this to you. This is part of the black art. This is part of structured debt. This is part of swaps. This is part of the enormously complex debt market known as derivatives that brought us the last depression and wipeout, lest you forget, 2006, 7, 8, 9, and it was a depression. And I admit it was bailed out to the tune of trillions and trillions of dollars, and that bailout debt is still with us. So it's not over with. Okay, 10 years is not a long time to have a gap in between a depression's first leg and second punch. We're in for the second punch. And all that debt you heard about and all those bad deals, well, they're still with us. And they're getting worse. And we're about to have an incredible credit market that is coming unglued, especially in commercial credit that has to do with a real estate. And the real estate bubble you have seen in commercial, in multifamily, industrial is something that is truly out of control. And remember, foreigners are no longer pumping money into the structured debt money. Why? Well, they're not generating balance of trade surpluses like they were, trade wars, and it's a hot topic, and they're retaliating by not putting their money into U.S. investments. Oh, my Donald doesn't understand this. That'd be more complicated. And then understanding the surplus we maintain in services, and understanding that merchandise deficit does not include content. So if you have an item made in China, it will not count the parts that are in it that come from America, or come from Europe, or come from other places. So it is a simplistic way of looking at a trade, and it also makes enemies out of our friends like the Canadians. So Donald Trump has moved us into the realm of what will be a huge stock market wipeout, a huge wipeout in U.S. government debt, and it will get uglier and uglier, and Donald Trump will eventually be thrown out of office, and he will leave behind a legacy of what will be known as the Trump Depression. Now, do you really give a rat's ass if it's a deep state conspiracy, if it's FBI agents and his girlfriend, or any of this crap? Reality is, whatever's bringing down Donald Trump, he created. See, the FBI did not film him in the room with the sweethearts, and did not get involved with the collusion with the Russians, and did not get involved with the finance affairs with Russian oligarchs running real estate as a laundromat. Donald Trump cooked this stuff up all by himself. And you might notice that a lot of what's going on here is about whether there should have been a FISA warrant or not, whether the FBI was prejudiced or not, but not about the heart of the issue, and is, do we have a president that has been compromised by the Russians? A well-placed investigation, a question that thinking people want to ask and want to answer to, something that needs to be addressed. And here's the really good part of it: deep state conspiracy, restate, no state, Donald Trump, FBI, FICA warrant, phony dossier, Hillary Clinton's emails, all that blow and go that Dershowitz is using for smoke doesn't make any difference, because the central issue is, how did Donald Trump win this remarkable election? What part did the Russians play in it? Was there collusion between Donald Trump himself and high members who had vast Russian contacts who were on his staff involved in this thing? And whether you like it or not, whether Hannity says it's right, whether Dershowitz says the investigation be stopped and all that bullshit, reality is the investigation is moving forward. Reality is the evidence against Donald Trump is piling up a mile high. The reality is that his lawyer Cohen has turned over files that are attorney-client privilege. That privilege has been waived by the Trump administration. And here is a news flash for you. Donald Trump's becoming more unpopular among thinking people every day. Now, they could be liberal, gays, LGDB, bacon, lettuce, tomato, and they could be the nobodies of the world, the people don't count, the Hillary Dillery docs, or whatever. But reality is Donald Trump was elected by the American people, and his election stands and is valid. And reality is that Donald Trump has been a disaster as a president, with policies that go against World Trade Organizations, World Bank, and all kinds of things that America has been a part of that have helped make America great. And here's the other thing. Like it or not, these issues will be investigated. They will be adjudicated. They will become part of the consciousness. And Donald Trump will sooner or later have to answer for all the crazy shit he's done, whether he agrees, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, whether it's a deep state or a restate or upstate, no state, bull state. And you as a thinking person, if you want to make money and you want to survive, you have to realize a few things, and that is the Democrats are coming to town. And your taxes are going to go to 50%. And that is a reality because the budget deficits are soaring out of control, okay? And whether you like it or not, your IRA 10K ReK that you cash in now will be at the lowest tax rate ever. And because they're coming hunting for the boomers, whether it's the Republicans or the Democrats or Pelosi or whoever. And reality is that $1 trillion budget deficit per year is a big number. $1 trillion, I know it's a few billion here, a few billion there, but we're now at $1 trillion here, $1 trillion there, and the government is going to need money, and they gave away too much to the corporations, and your tax break bonanza for the middle class wasn't a bonanza, and guess what? You're going to become the rich bastard in this new world of the millennials, and if you have more than $1,000 in savings, that makes you a rich bastard hoarding money. And in the socialist utopia they are building, in case you haven't noticed, it's coming. Let me give you a great sign. I want to own my car, okay? I don't want to lease it. I don't want to finance it. I don't want to share it. It's my car. And I want to get the damn thing, and I want to break it open, take it apart, de-Chinify it, and make something special out of it, okay? And so I spend my money, I buy my car, I own a car. But that's not the way it's going. General Motors is predicting 65% of car sales will be some kind of interval ownership program where ride share, people share, ownership share. Now, whether you like it or not, that's called a socialized automobile. And we're moving to the world of people are accepting that whether it's your living room that you sleep in or your vacation condo or your automobile or your boat or your airplane, and we're all going into a fractional ownership market, which means that we're socializing the ownership of assets, and that's very dangerous and not something I will allow happen to me. But I guarantee you it's not you. It's certainly your kids and your grandkids will be doing that shit. And that represents a whole other world where people are losing control of their assets. People are losing control of their lives. And government intrusion and control will become total and complete. I want you to let that roll around your brain as your tax rate goes to 50%, and you're going to be the rich bastard that's destroying mankind, if not the environment besides. Now, we're getting back to this debt situation, okay? We are about to have a debt wipeout, like it or not. Whether it was because of Hillary's email server or the dossier or whatever is happening. Hey, time for some tea. And that's a reality that you need to grasp. Now, I have good news for you and I have bad news for you. The good news is that there's going to be an economic collapse. It will be a recession, and it will lead to a depression, and that is something that cannot be stopped, okay? It's like a satellite that's been cast into orbit. Well, it's already in space, and it's already in its orbit, and it's already circling the planet. And it'll take an enormous amount of force to knock it out of its orbit. That's the same thing with the moon traveling around the Earth. As strong as that force is, so is the force of the coming recession. So is the force of the coming debt wipeout. Now, you have a few choices. And one is, like most people, you will be entitled to go, that's ridiculous. Nobody's talking about that except that guy. That's the kind of nuts. That's a permanent bear. Well, you go, yeah. But hello, we've had a whole lot of them, 5 or 6 of them, with the ongoing stock market crash. Yeah, but things are different now because we got the Federal Reserve in control. Well, you had the Federal Reserve in control for every one of those. Yeah, but now you've got algorithms. Well, you've had algorithms, since the 80s. Yeah, but we got structured debt now. Well, you had structured debt since like the Great Depression in the 30s. So what's happening is you got the normal group of deniers. Now, I really like deniers because a lot of times they've got their money in stock market mutual funds and a Blackstone high yield this and all kinds of little things that when they blow up really big, and we get to take their money. See, the market is zero sum, okay? And wealth is created, and wealth is destroyed, and we're now at a time of wealth being destroyed. But in the destruction of wealth is the great transfer of wealth, and no algorithm, no social manipulation, no bullshit, no mathematical model changes that fact, okay? Remember, mathematical models monitor events. People make a mistake in understanding that, observing a phenomenon and assigning to it mathematical principles does not stop that phenomena from happening, and oftentimes clouds your understanding of the phenomena, right? Because math is pretty rigid, okay? 2 plus 2 equals 4 under all circumstances, but 2 plus 2 does not equal 4 in a stock market wipeout, okay? So the problem is that assigning the mathematical values to events economic is nice and very comforting, especially for the Federal Reserve that buys that dictatorial bullshit. But the reality is that despite all the crap, it doesn't change the outcome. You hear what I'm saying? And it doesn't predict the outcome either. Yeah. And so that's where a guy like me goes, you keep adding and keep assigning a value to it, and I'll just cash in and take the money, thank you very much, and let me know how it works out 20 years from now. Remember, there's still arguing about the cause of the Great Depression because mathematicians want to spin things. They're still calling the Great Recession a unique event. They're still saying that structured debt is safe and secure, and that counterparties and derivatives are secure, and they are not. They're still saying that banks have sufficient capital and their risk profile has changed, which it has not. They still are ignoring the mountain of debt that is not classified correctly, is not sufficiently has collateral against it, and they're denying the fact that the stock market is a bubble and all bubbles wipe out. Now you add Donald Trump, who came to town. Oh, thank you, God. Donald Trump is a moron, and so said Tillerson, who's a man that should be respected. And Donald Trump proves how stupid he is every day to me, and all I can say is, thank you, God. What a great guy. I'm going into a recession that is caused by rates going higher and caused by 10 years of incredibly, ridiculously low interest rates. I don't care what your mathematical said. When the economy was overstimulated, and an economy that has created bubbles in debt markets, the economy has created bubbles in real estate, the economy has created bubbles in debts of companies and people around the world. And that is a mathematical fact, okay? Now, whether you agree with it or you want to spin it and try to make it something it's not, we have not avoided the cycles of recessions and depressions. No dictator, no economy, no market, no social structure changes what's called feast and famines in the old days. Now we've had a place of feast where we have gorged ourselves, and now comes the famine. How cool is that? Now, see, a guy like me understands feast and famine. We understand bubbles. We understand the destruction, and we know how to turn them into money. Now, I understand it's a unique skill. Hi. My expertise is making people billionaires in bubbles. Oh, I'll take 2 of those. And my resume is I've done it 5 times, and I know what I'm doing, and I'm good at it, and we just have the same set of circumstances again. Wall Street says, well, no, it's different this time. Don't listen to that man. Please don't, because he's wiped out many financial firms. He's made very wealthy people out of ordinary people. He's turned our monsters against us. The last thing we need is people being advised by someone who's on their advocate, because guess what? You're supposed to wipe out in this wipeout. You are not supposed to get wealthy in this wipeout. You're not supposed to make a profit. They only want you to know there's going to be a wipeout. So, in other words, we're still on Jump Street as far as most people are concerned, like, hello, there's a wipeout. Hello, there's a bubble. And if you want to find out there's a bubble, go to any mall, any shopping center. Look at the craziness. Go down the road and look at the massive traffic jams and all the shiny new cars there. Now look at the idiots behind the wheel and realize that they're looted, opioid, drugged, whizzed, potted out. And that's great. I hope everybody's on opioids. I hope everybody has medical marijuana. I hope everyone tells them it's really safe, toke up, stay more. Why? Well, while they're in some kind of altered state of consciousness, that's more money for me. Now, to say that being drugged out, whizzed out, drunk, high, stoned, boned, romoned is not a problem isn't, again, another deep state lie, okay? Now, if you want to worry about the deep state conspiracy, forget this bullshit with Donald Trump and his sexual fantasies. Forget the crap about the deep state, DACA D file, spying on the campaign, all that shit. I mean, in this day and age, you're going to tell me that someone is concerned about government documents, government agents, government spying, government intercepts? Right, okay? Do you take a shit? They know about it. You're on Skype. Your records are there, memorialized in a file with your name on it and your partner's name on it and cross-checked, cross-filed, and there forever. So that's just a reality. I don't know why Donald Trump's so upset about that. And as far as being filmed, well, Donald Trump is a film star. I mean, he went with a porno star, and he fancied himself a TV producer, reality TV. I can't think of anything more real or reality than Donald Trump getting spanked on the ass by Stormy before he has sex with her, knowing she was a porno star, and before he has a Playboy bunny rabbit hopping around the hotel rooms in various places. So it's not a stretch for a man that got out of a bus and told me he had like the pinch and how women let him do whatever he wants because he's a powerful man is not something that is surprising to me. And to say that he's kinky, well, just look at him and you can see that. I mean, he thinks he's Mr. Goldfinger. I hope... it works okay for the women around him. You're going to have him spray painted gold again, because that's some crazy shit. So the idea that he had golden showers with a golden boy in a golden hotel in a golden palace in Moscow is not a stretch for me. And of course he did. To think that Donald Trump has been compromised by Putin, just look at the relationship and look what he does. Now, if you want to stay stupid, I don't know, I'm so sure about that. I mean, it was FBI agents and phony wiretaps. I don't give a shit. I really don't care. I don't give a shit if it was real, not real, supposed to happen, not supposed to happen. I'm going to make the money. So you can sit there and argue endlessly with Hannity and watch his real estate portfolio wipe out. In fact, I hope we can get a beat on it, because I would love to buy Hannity's properties at his bankruptcy, because I guarantee he paid too much, and he's got too much leverage, and he's got too much debt, and despite all his little political connections, ask Cohen, when you're on the outside with Donald Trump, you're out in the cold. So you can argue all this bullshit, and I don't give a crap about how many, it was a redacted document. I don't give a shit. Has a lot of black marks on it. I don't care. Donald Trump said he's not going to declassify it. Now, it was a document that was going to help himself. Donald would declassify it faster than Stormy does a strip dance for $10,000, a whole bunch of people cheering her on, okay? So, obviously, if you want to be a thinking person, Donald Trump knows it's bullshit. Donald Trump knows it's smoke he's blowing. Donald Trump really knows he's in trouble. And as the bad news comes out, Donald Trump threatens the Ayatollahs and this and that. Now they're celebrating. Oh, they're taking apart a rocket factory so the satellites can watch them over in North Korea. Well, all I can say is, duh. And people fall for that shit. Well, listen, people falling for dictators making assholes out of them is legendary. The Bushes did it. My good friend Bill Clinton did it with the same Kim Yum Num Chucks. I don't see anything different with what Donald Trump is doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a whole lot of money, build my fences, hire more razor wire, more cameras, more guards, and more everything, and hunker down. And can I tell you, that's not like such a weird thing. The wealthiest people in the world right now are planning their survival tactics. Oh, they didn't tell you that in the little press releases and the little ditties? Okay? Especially the tech people. And they're trying to figure out how to handle their security guards. They're trying to figure out how to transfer their consciousness. And I can tell you that there is a lot of, should we say, interest in a lot of things we've written, a lot of things we've done by high-tech people. More tea, hang on. And let's put it to you this way, those steroid monsters you have running around with you, with little pistolas, well, they don't like you, Mr. Tech Guy. They think you're a nerd and a jerk, okay? And they hate you, and they hate everything about you. And all the lie detector tests and all the profilers make you nervous. Because let me tell you what happens. It's not unusual for colonels to take over countries and become dictators. And Mr. Billionaire guy, that guard guy, when the shit hits the fan, what do you think he's going to do? You think he's going to put up with you and your extravagance and your nonsense? You don't think he hates your wealth and hates your guts and regards you as soft and lazy? He's a steroid monster, okay? So you'll wake up one day and that 9mm gun you gave him, well, he may turn it on you. So there's a whole lot of things to worry about. Now, if you're really smart and really versatile, you have to understand that you have to understand there's a whole lot of things people challenge. Look, let's be very honest. If you still are scratching your ass, not sure about a recession coming or a stock market bubble bursting, then you're wasting my time and your time. You need to go over there and go 100 funds are us, and talk to your fund manager about the fund he's going to recommend that pays him the largest commission, and listen to the bullshit about the special opportunities and all that bullshit. But if you've been around the block, for the people who've been around the block and you're no longer a virgin, and you've been raped a time or two by Wall Street, then you're ready to hear what I'm saying, because you know it's bullshit. You know the funds just melt away to nothing. You know the promises are a lie. You know the economy goes in the handbasket, and your real estate collapses in price, and no matter how many flowers you put on the table, no how much toast you put in the toaster, no how much coffee you brew with the ERA lady, the price of the house falls, and you can't sell the piece of shit. And then don't even begin about the commercial, that no matter how much promotions you do, the tenants leave and they don't pay your rent. Now, if you've been there and you got the T-shirt to prove it, then you know what to do. And that is you get out of the real estate, you get out of the commercial stuff, you get out of the funds, and you start using enhanced tools, which we're experts at, to turn what is going to be the disaster days you're in the biggest payday of your life. Now, I think intelligent, functioning people will not be distracted by the Donald Trump three-ring circus and reality TV show from the Rose Garden and what the publicity stunt will be next week. I don't know who he's going to piss off. I don't know what stupid, dumb shit thing he's going to do, but I guarantee you there'll be something. Now, you can take that and go, oh, wow, deep state conspiracy and redacted. Oh, it was a warrant. It was illegal to follow a Russian guy, okay? You got this Russian guy on Donald Trump's campaign who's meeting with Russian officials. Why Russians are trying to win the election and get into Donald Trump's campaign, and it's some great crime that the FBI gets a warrant to tap his phone? Shit. I just wonder why they borrowed with the warrant, okay? So, don't shit me. I'm not falling for that bullshit. It's so unfair they tapped the Donald Trump campaign. What are you talking about? They were all speaking Russian in the campaign headquarters. Russian spies and Russian agents had meetings with the Trump family and senior officials. Trump senior campaign advisors were indeed Russian agents, indeed colluded with Russians, indeed had Russian contacts, and indeed were using those contacts during the election. And indeed, without a doubt, the Russians were interfering in the election. So it's not hard to say, well, Russians interfere in the election. Donald Trump asked the Russians for help. The Russians give him help. Donald Trump announces ahead of time the release of damaging documents through WikiLeaks that helped swing the election. Well, to me, it's like, game, set, match. So if you want to again be fooled about, oh, it's unfair, Donald Trump's a great guy. Okay, fine, buy that shit. You're looking at steel tariffs and companies like Red Blood America and Harley Davidson and Whirlpool Corporation and major companies are going, we're kind of screwed here, guys. What do you think, Donald? Well, Donald don't give a shit, okay? Donald Trump cares about Donald Trump, okay? Donald Trump cares about staying in office. Donald Trump cares about absolutely not being embarrassed by being thrown out on his ass. So there's no doubt about this. So like I said, if you're still stuck on Jump Street going, I don't know about that, well, fine, stay there. He's your boy. Go there and join the campaign and help him. He needs all the help he can get. Send him money. Now, for those of you that have got enlightenment, have achieved consciousness, we've got a stock market that is 6 months away from Wipeout City, okay? It should be peaking along here. We've got a dollar that's going to soar in value, and the Chinese are going to make the dollar soar. We've got foreign investment that is not going to come into the United States. We have got huge amounts of debt that is going to be liquidated at massive losses. And this debt crisis is a result of a debt bubble. And the credit markets are about to wipe out, and we've seen it before. Structured debt is becoming unstructured. The markets are slowing down, and interest rates are going higher. And structured debt relies upon cheap money, and lots of it. The cheap money's not coming, and lots of it's not coming, and Donald Trump has seen to it. So now you can put the pieces together, listen to the warnings about people who don't normally issue too many warnings, and understand that there is a recession coming. The trade war is making it into a depression. The stock market's going to collapse. Gold, silver, copper, and all industrial metals are going down. Look, Donald Trump announced today a $12 billion bailout for, quote, farmers who are hurt by his very sanctions. Now, let me untranslate that for you. That $12 billion, well, you could piss more than that. Donald Trump got more than that in an envelope from a Russian oligarch, okay? It's a nothing burger. Now, do you really think, Mr. Iowa oink oink farmer, you're going to get that money? And you really think, Mr. Soybean farmer, look at the biggest trading firms. Look at the huge pork producer companies, not the little farmer there. Look at the exporters. Look at the big grain guys, and they're going to get that money in a minute, and you're going to get a slap in the ass, kick in the ass, kick in the teeth, and aren't you great again? And he ain't going to give you a freaking dime, okay? Donald Trump's going to give a bailout to ConAgra and the big pork producers and Tyson's and those guys, and you ain't going to get shit. And you don't deserve to get shit because you're stupid. Really. So if you want to come to the dark side, if you want to come to my side, start putting your positions and get ready for a wipeout. We're starting to outline our trade strategies. We will load for bear in the coming months. This is a thinking man's game. You do it slowly, deliberatively, carefully, and this will be the greatest trading, money-making opportunity in the history of the planet, in my opinion. Donald Trump will go down because he's a piece of shit. Donald Trump is a liar, duh. Donald Trump is a con man, duh. Donald Trump is incredibly stupid, duh. He is surrounded by people who have hate and vile and disdain and disgust, and they shroud that in the flag and call it patriotism. Again, I don't give a shit. Really, truly, I don't care. The man was a draft dodger 5 times, okay? The file has been hidden. The doctors wrote letters of bone spurs, and payoffs were made. And a very wealthy New York real estate holder, his father, not him, didn't want his son to go to Vietnam, which was very common among the liberals and liberals, which Donald Trump was. Donald Trump gave massive amounts of money to Democrats, was a lifelong Democrat. Donald Trump was at Chelsea's wedding with the Clintons. The Clintons were at his daughter's wedding, and they were all chummy. So this is just the game they want to play with you. So all of a sudden, Donald Trump's the champion of a factory worker? Shit. Donald Trump cares about your pain, Mr. Coal Miner? Bullshit. This guy doesn't care about you. This guy's part of the ruling elite. You're a piece of shit to be used and abused. And I find it remarkable that people can't scratch their ass and figure it out. So that's okay. I can figure it out. Okay? I know it's a recession. I can figure it out. I know a trade war leads to depression. I can figure it out. I know the market that's a bubble is going to crash. I can figure it out. I know oil prices are ridiculously high. I can figure it out. I know the dollar's going to go higher and higher. I can figure it out. I know interest rates are going to go higher. I just gave you a way to become a billionaire. Now, like I've often said, if the most people, you gave them a copy of the Wall Street Journal 3 months in advance, that lets you do what every trade, every market, they couldn't make any money. Me? I know how to turn that into money. I know how to turn market analysts and bullshit, and I know how to take advantage of algo guys and computer traders. I know how to turn this into money, and have proven over and over again, and it's now time to turn it into money. Got it? And you go, I don't understand. I understand, but you don't have to understand. I understand. If I understand, that means you understand. Why? Because I'm an expert, and if you're smart enough, you know how to use experts. And if you're stupid, you know how to get bullshitted by them. It's not a complicated formula, my friends. This is not a complicated equation. It is not some mystery about what's going on here. Okay, these are well-known events, well-documented. Donald Trump is going down, okay? Down. See, as in wipe out. Donald Trump is going to be thrown out of office, okay? Donald Trump is not going to be elected for a second term, okay? There is a rising groundswell of people who hate Donald Trump's guts, who are coming into positions of power. The polling shows it. And although his popularity is the greatest ever among his Donald Trumpins, Trump forever, that's nice. But that's not enough, okay? And people who've had more popularity than him among the core groups have wiped out. And people who've been demagogues like him have wiped out. And one thing about Americans is that we're not so prone to fall for this dictator shit, okay? Now, this will play real well in Europe. They like strong leaders. But Americans, we got this anti-something about us, okay, which is part of our greatness. And Donald Trump comes there and he fosters hatred. And more and more people go, you know, we don't need this shit. And more people kind of say, wait. There's something real wrong with the Don here. And I don't like what I'm seeing. And all of a sudden, there's a change. And Americans kind of rise up and go, you know, I'm tired of this hatred bullshit. I'm tired of this culture of evil. I'm tired of the narrative with Donald Trump and the message. And I'm tired of trade wars making everyone our enemy. And I get to be very uncomfortable with this thing. And all of a sudden you wake up and people kind of smell the coffee and go, there's something very wrong here. And there's something I'm not feeling very, very right about. And it is time for a change. And you're going to find a lot of loyal Republicans, a lot of conservatives are going to wake up and go, you know, Donald, you're making me very uncomfortable, buddy. And Donald, this trade war is a mistake. And this recession is eating my ass. Well, there's a deep state, restate, no state conspiracy. And it's time for a change. And people will rise up and storm the Bastille. And Donald Trump will be gone. And all the Hannity and Fox News spin will be over with. And then you're going to see an incredible opportunity to make a lot of money. You're going to be able to change your life. You become vastly wealthy as a majority of people around you are going broke. Or you can buy into the deep state conspiracy, the vile hatred that the Trump supporters use to fool you. You can buy the narrative spin about FBI agents, they sent emails and didn't like Donald. Who gives a rat's ass? Okay? And you can figure it out and become very wealthy. You can use enhanced tools to really make this thing work and cook at it. Or you can sit there and jerk off, be conned, made a fool of, and watch everything you've worked for disappear. You choose.